What's up,
Yes.
guys? Welcome
Yes.
back. Part 2. Ready to get into Sonny's story today, man. You know, I appreciate everything that you were asking me and everything that
Yeah.
in the past episode. It's not easy to be vulnerable.
No.
But we signed up for this, and it's something that we want to bring our past and our hard times to the forefront for you guys.
Yeah.
In order to help you in any ways that we can. So I'm looking forward to doing a deep dive with you today. And
It's funny you say dive because that's kind of how I got hurt, man. So I like how you segue into that one.
Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready. Maybe some tissues.
Okay.
We're going to get some happy tears, some funny tears, but I'm just going to give you guys the real story.
Yeah, man. So, we kind of just want to get an idea for who Sonny was.
Yeah.
Pre-injury. We just want to know, hey, man, what was this guy? Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
And what you were all about.
Yeah, so I mean, I was probably like a lot of our listeners were like, I grew up in La Mirada, California, which is on the border of Orange County and LA County, kind of smack dab in the middle. But I grew up, very solid family. My parents did divorce when I was 6, but good family support. I had great relationships with both parents.
That's great.
I played sports my whole life since a kid. Every year, my dad he coached me in basketball. We were the Lakers. So all you Laker haters out there, bring it. But so I grew up with a passion for sports because it was what I dealt with at home. But as a kid, I was actually an introvert.
Really?
Yeah, I know. You're thinking
Man,
this guy
that's
never
hard.
shuts up.
Yeah, just watch a few more episodes, and
I
you
get
guys
it,
will hear about this guy.
I get
now.
it. Everybody's probably gonna say, "Yeah, right," when they hear this, but sports brought out the confidence in me.
Okay.
Because I was a bigger kid growing up, so I was able to really show my talents, really have fun with it. Basketball was always my first love, even though I played football, baseball, and all the other sports. Basketball was always the sport that really got my attention. In high school, though, I drifted a little bit more towards football, and I got a football scholarship. I played a year in Kansas at a NAIA school called Tabor University.
Right on.
We won our conference the first year. I got a big old conference ring for it.
Yeah, buddy.
So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But it was Kansas. So
Yeah.
I clicked my heels 3 times. I got the hell home within a year because we're talking like tornadoes. We're talking creepy basement parties where we'd be in the basement. I thought someone's going to hack my head off and throw me in a cooler. So I dipped out of that quick.
No offense. No offense.
Yeah, no offense to anybody who lives in Kansas who's listening. But so when I got home, it was I was just really trying to figure out who I wanted to be and who I was. So I went to Santa Ana College, got a fireman technology degree, and was pursuing that. Started working full time on a couple other jobs. And, that's really who I was in the beginning. Just a normal guy trying to find out what I was passionate about, what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Well, man, kind of set the scene for us. What were you going through in your life? What were you, doing leading up to your injury? And kind of tell us a little more about that, and tell us about the day.
So when I got hurt, I was 26 years old. About 9 months earlier, I had gone back to school for drafting and design. I figured I wanted to, 'cause every job I was working at was a little bit construction based.
Okay.
And I felt like I was either going to be a laborer or I was going to get more advanced and become somebody who knows blueprints and becomes more of a project manager. So I went back to school to do that, but my social life was a mess. Yeah. I was in a very unstable relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked to tie one on the weekends.
Yeah.
When Friday would come, I was always at the bars from Friday, sometimes even up until Monday, and I would drag myself into work or school, whatever. And I kind of justified it. Well, I work all week or I go to school all week, so I can let loose on the weekends.
Yeah.
I never felt like I had a problem, but my mom and my brother, who were extremely close to me, would always tell me, "Hey, you need to slow down a little bit." And I'd be like, "Look, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing." I would always justify it. So my friends and I would do a summer trip always to Laughlin.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, Laughlin, it's like the bootleg white trash version of Vegas. You could go there on a budget.
On the river.
On the
water,
You can go there on a budget with board shorts, flip-flops, and pretty much do what you do in Vegas, but you didn't have to be so dressed up. Mm-hmm. And we did this every summer. And on one of our trips down there, we stayed at a casino down there, and our room was on the first floor, very first floor. Anyways, the night's going on, and I'm drinking. I'm having fun. We come back to our room. We bring some people back with us, so we're drinking in the room. My friends was outside to smoke a cigarette, which I think is a disgusting habit, which led to my demise. So I really hate smoking. I don't know how you feel about smokers.
Yeah,
You hate them?
not a
You hate 'em?
fan.
Okay, good deal.
Cigarettes.
You don't smoke, do you?
No cigarettes for me.
Okay, good to know. So we opened the slider up, and I stepped outside, and what I saw there was the pool, which was the size of a football. I mean, huge pool.
Yeah.
And in Laughlin during the summer, like 120 degrees outside, even at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, let's go to the pool. That sounds like fun. We're drinking. We're already half naked. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
So I rushed over to the pool. I let my friends in, and without checking the depth, my surroundings, nothing, just being incredibly careless, I dove into the pool. What I didn't know is that pool was only 4 feet deep. You know, I thought there was a deep end. I mean, what pool doesn't have a deep end? So when I dove in, I hit the bottom right away. I broke my neck. To make matters worse, no one really found me or checked on me. So about 4 or 5 minutes later, I drowned on top of that.
Ugh.
So my friends pulled me out. They gave me CPR. They're moving me around. They saved my life, thank God. But my memory cuts off maybe a minute before that happened to like maybe a week and a half later to when I wake up in the hospital.
Man, that's heavy.
Yeah.
I know it's something that's fairly common in the spinal cord injury community is diving in to, a unknown
Shallow
depth
waters,
of water, man. That's just something that is, you just don't even think of, because you think of a pool, like, hell yeah, I want to dive in.
How many times as a kid did you do that?
Every time almost. Like if I wasn't trying to do a flip or like
cannonball,
a giant spat, like, it's just, you jump in. So, especially when, you're tying one on, having a good time, it's not something you're considering. And I want to know, like, how long were you like underwater, by yourself, like drowning?
So I've never had the heart, nor does anybody that I know, my family had the heart, but there actually was a security surveillance video of the whole thing.
Yeah. You don't want
But we've never watched it. But what I've heard from certain people was I was underwater for almost 4 minutes. So the fact that I don't have a major brain injury on top of everything so when I got out of the water, what I was diagnosed with was my C5 and C4 vertebrae in my neck were destroyed. The doctor at the time actually told my parents to investigate because he didn't believe I just did this diving into a pool. Mm-hmm. He's like, looked like somebody either threw you out of a car going 80 miles per hour or someone took a baseball bat to your neck. My C5 and 6 destroyed. 4 had a little bit of fragments left, but mostly destroyed. So what they did is they fused my neck from my 4 to my 7. They fused it together.
Okay.
Luckily, though, my spine only had bone fragments in it, which kind of gives me, I'm a quad, but I'm more incomplete, meaning that my 4 limbs are affected, my hands, everything else, but I do have a lot of function. Like I still have my triceps, biceps, which allows me to be more independent than more stereotypical quadriplegics are.
Yeah. Man, that's super heavy.
Yeah.
So you get your diagnosis and, typically I know from my experience, the doctors kind of let you know how it is, how it's going to be. And
no
then
bedside manner.
you kind of just get pushed into like, hey man, this is what it's going to be. So good luck, sign this paper.
Yeah.
So like, what did you go through? What was the next like few months of your life? Like, what were those initial hurdles for you?
All right. So it was really tough in the beginning because of drowning. I ended up developing pneumonia and staph infection as well on top of it.
Jeez.
So what the doctors had to do in the beginning was put a trach in my throat to get all the inflammation out, to get all the stuff out of my neck. And I don't fault the doctors for this, but they don't really have bedside manner.
No.
So they'll come in and tell a 26-year-old guy, hey, you'll never walk again, as if he's, saying, hey, good morning to somebody. I mean, there's no, I get you have to tell us to me, but there's, So as I hear this, and I'm still in Vegas too, because they airlifted me from Laughlin to Vegas.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even home. I have my parents around my bedside, and, your parents just want to fix you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when they heard that, they were just, destroyed. I think everybody went silent. As soon as the doctor walked out of the room, my family, though, immediately was, excuse my language, were like, fuck this, we're going to get through it. And that was the kind of mindset going forward, was like, we hear the diagnosis, we don't really know what's next. Whatever it is, we're just going to fight like hell to get through it. So that was kind of the initial reaction, was like, I didn't really know how I did it to myself, but I'm like, okay, well, I apparently really, really hurt myself. But whatever it is, I'm just going to fight it. I'm just gonna work through it.
Man, and I mean that's the mentality I had. I think it's probably a sports thing. You know, get that Mamba mentality. You know, like the boys here, but moving forward from there, you know, pushing as hard as you could. But what were the people around you doing? How did your relationships evolve over that time?
God, it was interesting in the hospital. They put me in I had so many people coming in the hospital. They actually quarantined me.
No way! Wow.
So at first I was sharing a bed with another guy.
Mr. Popular.
Yeah. So they were like, yeah, this guy's got too much traffic. So they actually quarantined me. So I felt like I had a 1-bedroom apartment, and I had everybody that I've had met throughout my life coming by. You know, it was hard though because they were coming in with full tears in their eyes, and it was so emotional. But I did feel that support like no other in the beginning. And to make it even better was I was getting therapy every day. Yeah. You know, and I felt like 'cause when I had pneumonia in the first 3 or 4 weeks, I had lost like 30 pounds. But at least with rehab, I felt like I was working on gaining something back. Yeah. So I felt extremely positive. I had my friends coming every day. My family was coming every day. So I felt the support like no other. I felt, okay, maybe I can really get through this. Like maybe this isn't that bad. You know, and I felt like it was all temporary. Like in my mindset, I was going to be this miracle guy. 6 months, jumps out of bed. I always heal fast because whenever I got hurt playing sports, I was never tore an ACL. But like if I sprained an ankle, most guys would take 3 weeks. I would take 1. Right. So I felt like this was the same situation. Okay, most guys are like this, but I'll be the exception. You know, but when I got home, I realized, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, were people bailing on you? Did you have to do it yourself? I mean, you had a tight family, but how about everything else?
Yeah, so when I got home, my room was upstairs, so I couldn't get to it. So there was a hospital bed that was put in the living room, and that was now my new room. So when I got home,
that's tough.
You know, a lot of my friends bailed within the first couple weeks. I was looking out my front door, and I saw my truck that I drive now, but I couldn't drive it then. So I was like, damn, I can't even get in my vehicle and drive somewhere just to clear my head. Yeah. I had no space, no privacy. The girl I was dating at the time, she was sleeping on the couch and kind of helped me out. But, you know, as things wore on, you know, we weren't right for each other. She bailed. So it was like everybody I thought would be there was not there. You know, I was totally by myself. And on top of that, I felt like I had to keep it together because my family was going through so much. And I felt I was the cause of their pain. That breaking down in front of them, I couldn't do. Yeah. So I'd wait till everybody went to sleep, and I would just cry. And I mean, I would just cry like a bitch. Yeah. But I had to get it out. You know what I mean?
I can totally relate with that, man. You know, you feel so responsible for so many people's pain around you. Yes. You hate seeing that. The people that you love, it's like you feel like you let them down in a way. But it's something that's so, you know, out of your hands. So was there anything you did to kind of, you know, put the situation back in your hands? Is there anything that you did that kind of turn things around from that darkness, from those dark times, you know?
You know, I don't say this lightly. I don't say this to get attention, and I don't say this to be dramatic. But I swear, if I could have done something really bad in those first 6 months to a year, I would have done it. I mean, it was terrible. There was nights where I just wanted to drink a water and knew I couldn't get it. And I felt like this is pathetic. I don't want to be here anymore. I actually questioned, why was I even saved? Yeah. If I'm going to be in this condition, I'm going to be this worthless. Why am I here? Because the frustration wore on because I felt like within a month I could move my legs. Within 2 months I'd be doing this. Like it would be gradual. It'd be long, but I'd get there. Yeah. And within 6 months, nothing happened. You know, I mean, I was getting some things back, but nothing huge. And 6 months was my birthday. And I remember I had a birthday little get together and a few friends showed up. And I remember when everybody left, I told my mom, I'm like, man, I hate it. I can't do this anymore. Like and she's like sat me down. Well, she looked me in the eyes in my wheelchair and was like, listen, this is a journey. This isn't about a sprint. This isn't going to happen overnight. Well, this is a journey. And unless you start appreciating the small little things you're doing, like feeding yourself maybe, or, you know, the pushing your wheelchair because you couldn't do that in the beginning. Like little small things I was overlooking because I was looking only at the big picture. Once I had that conversation, it didn't change overnight, but I started to take a little bit of a step back and realize, okay, there is progress happening. Maybe not the things I want to happen yet, but it's on its way.
Yeah, and this, I mean, in our situations, it's such a lesson in patience that you don't want. Yes. You know, just forced patience. Like you think you've been patient and it's 10 times slower than you could ever imagine. And it's painful, man. It takes a toll,
God,
you know,
painful,
and you know, all these things are compounding on top of one another. Like, you know, you're stressed out, you know, you get anxious about things that you can't do.
Yeah.
And, you know, then that adds to more pain. And then, you know, you're in a worse place and your mentality is just going down the drain.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to know, like, at what point did you start like rebuilding your mind to figure out like, hey, I can push myself forward.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can do this thing.
After I got over the initial, like, why me? Because I think we have to go through the morning stages. Somebody put this in my head, and it's just stuck ever since. Instead of asking why me, ask what? Like, what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to take from challenging situations? So, and I always tell people this too. When I got put in this chair, it was like all my problems I had before. It was like we all got into a room together. My problems were like people were like right in front of me, and I got put into a room with no doors and no windows, and I was told get out of the room. So everything that I would put underneath the rug, everything I would ignore, all of a sudden now they're like right in my face. Like, okay, you need to be a better person. And not that I was a piece of shit before or, you know, a bad person, but I had potential to do more.
Yeah.
And I had the, like, everything I'm doing now, I had the potential to do before I got hurt. It took this accident though to bring that out. So the turning point for me was stop playing the victim. Okay, like God put you in this position, and not that I'm a super religious person. I'm very spiritual, but I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So God put me here. There's something you need to learn from this, and through this greatest pain, this adversity, is how you're going to save yourself, but maybe save other people. And it just became this journey where, like, okay, every time something bad happened to me, I now looked at it. Okay, why? What is the purpose? Why is this? I said it like, why me? What am I supposed to take from the journey? And that's just kind of how I've taken it and moved forward from it. Not to say that's easy. Not to say I don't have days where I just plain ass quit and just give up. But I always bounce back because of that philosophy.
I love that. That's super deep, and I, you know, respect you so much for that. Even myself, man, I feel like God laid me on my back, so I'd be forced to look up.
Yeah.
You know, I try to do everything myself, and you just, you know, have to submit sometimes that you know, you just have to accept that this is the path for your life, and you know, you have to navigate this life, not the one you chose, but the one that's put in front of you.
Yep.
You know, and I think one critical thing that, you know, we should touch on is that it's so important the people that you put around you. You know, and just like your support system. You know, because I know you and me, we're not big, you know, guys that are fans of like the support group, you know, vibe. I mean,
well, I had a horrible experience in the beginning.
Yeah, and it's you can tell me a little bit about that first. So I'll get into it.
I was about to leave inpatient therapy to go to outpatient therapy, and I was about to leave the hospital, and they're like, well, you know, you should really get involved in this support group that, you know, goes on every Thursday. And I was like, okay, that's probably a good idea to be surrounded by people dealing with the same situation. You find comfort in that, you know? So I roll in this, and I mean, within 5 minutes, the first guy starts talking, starts crying, and like, I can't do this and that. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, I just can't be around that.
Yeah.
And not that, like, and I feel like that's the hardest thing and the most thing, probably what I get criticized the most about is I'm trying to be a voice for the spinal cord community. I'm trying to be this activist and trying to show people what's possible and break stereotypes, but yet I don't associate with a lot of people in wheelchairs. I do. I associate with the ones that have a similar attitude as I do.
Yeah.
I want to help everybody. Don't get it wrong.
Absolutely.
But it takes so much energy and mental capacity and strength to get to where I'm at every day that if I'm constantly surrounded by that, I couldn't function. Yeah, I couldn't help anybody. Couldn't even help myself.
Yeah, and I was the same way. And I think it's our mentalities are so similar, and there is so much value and resources that come out of support groups because there's, you know, you don't know which way is up. You really have to find your own way.
Yeah.
And the people that have been there and done it for, I mean, God, I've been in support groups with guys that have been in a chair for 30 years, and you're like, I can't even imagine that. But obviously they learn things along the way that they, you know, can help you with. But again, we were in this mode of we can't surround ourselves with this, you know, and because we are on such a, you know, what do you even think, man? Just a tirade of, you know, building this new life for ourselves, and didn't want anyone else's experience or their negativity I think maybe we're just at such a emotional capacity that anyone else's emotion pouring on from the same situation would just, overflow the pot. And I think, I think it was so cool about how we met and got linked up because honestly, I think from right from the get-go, our vibe just, went together and we just, had this chemistry and could, roast each other. We can push each other and, tell me a little bit, about your experience and, and how we came together and, started this journey as friends.
Well, it was kind of like, love at first sight. Saw this handsome guy from across the room. I think one of the challenges I found after being hurt was going through outpatient therapy. I just felt was limited. I felt like they just wanted to teach me wheelchair skills, and I was kind of defensive about it at the time. I was like, I get that I need to learn how to use this thing, but I'll learn as I go because I have to. Like, that's how I get around. So there was that frustration of like, I want to rehab my legs, my upper body. So I was looking for something new. And amazingly, through the stars aligned, where a person who was helping me out was living with somebody who went to high school with you.
Yeah.
And started showing me on your Facebook some of the videos of you walking and some of this other stuff. And I was like, well, damn, where's that place at? And it was a Goodwill Fitness Center. And so I went and I checked it out. And I think within like a week or two, we just crossed paths right away.
Yeah.
And I knew from the onset, just from how much you were doing, I got your story. And just from meeting, I'm like, damn, finally somebody who's just like me. And I was craving that because where I rehabbed at was Rancho Los Amigos, which is a good facility, but I was literally the only dude like me there.
Yeah.
A lot of their demographic are people that have been shot or involved in gangs, which is not my background.
Yeah.
So our backgrounds are similar. We kind of grew up next to each other. We probably crossed paths at some point and didn't even know it.
Yeah, we might have.
I mean, it's really possible. So for me to finally meet somebody, I felt like, man, this guy's just like me, same mentality. And I was learning from you as you were learning from me. And it was just a natural friendship that just evolved over the years. Yeah. Which I feel like they're the best. It doesn't take work to be your friend. Like, I don't have to tell myself I need to reach out to this guy.
Right.
We naturally had always found each other at the different spots of our journey for a little bit of guidance, a little bit of uplifting, because we're kind of going through things, but at different times.
For sure, man. I think there's so many relationships and in our friendship that were fostered at Goodwill Fitness Center. And for those of you guys that don't know, it's a gym put on by Goodwill Industries, where you donate your clothes to. But it's a full-on gym with all this adaptive equipment that guys like him and I could use, to start doing rehab. And they're so like, that's not something you just like search typically. People don't just tell you about that, And so when we found this place, it's like now we can actually start putting in the work, and then everyone, is kind of on a similar like-mindedness, and we can all build off each other's vibe. And, it really, I think that kind of set the stage for us like moving forward.
I have so much gratitude towards the Goodwill Fitness Center. One of my main goals after getting hurt was to drive again. Yeah. And I was against driving a van, or I wanted something I knew I would use every day. Yeah. So with their physical therapist there, it's so underutilized, this gym. I mean, we'll have to throw a link up or some type of information up as we speak about it. But they helped me get back to driving again, not only with physical therapy, but they gave me a grant in the beginning.
It's amazing.
I couldn't afford it. But to modify my truck, which as I'm speaking here, you'll probably see the video of it, was over like 10 or 12 grand. And they paid for the whole thing for me to get that little bit of normalcy of my life before, and the independence completely changed everything I was doing.
I think it speaks to the people, like the staff that was there. I mean,
incredible
the
staff.
Trainers we were working with, guys like you and me, but they knew how to work with neurological injuries and push us in ways that they knew our mentality could handle and push our body.
And they're not trying to make money there.
It's it's about the growth.
It
and the
really
progress.
is. Yeah.
So
it's very affordable.
Yeah, very affordable. And actually, I think it's called the Rogers A. Severson Fitness and Technology Fitness and Technology Center. So we'll throw a link up for you guys.
Yeah, because I think Roger was an employee for Goodwill, right?
I believe so.
And he suffered a spinal cord injury and found it that he couldn't rehab anywhere. He found no place for it, so he started that. Yeah. And it's not like, when I say Goodwill, it's not a hand-me-down I mean, this is all brand new equipment.
State of the art. You walk in, you walk in, I was like, wow.
Yes.
First time I went there. I remember my dad sending me pictures, when I was in the hospital about this place. I'm like, whoa, dude, this is all right.
It's beautiful.
I'm down to check that out.
Yeah.
So, would love to get you guys linked to that and
Yeah.
help you find some rehab centers and because it's such an important thing. If you can't move, if you're sitting in a power chair, can't move a limb, like you think there's no ways. There's ways.
Yes.
Like, they'll figure that out.
Yes.
And get you moving, get your body in a better place. So
and they're not a sponsor of ours either. Like, we're not plugging them in. Like, this is just a legit.
And they're not the only ones doing this. They're just hard to come across. You know, there's a lot of good people that are out there. You know, making the physical therapy, occupational therapy side of things. You know, accessible. You know, for guys like us. You know? So
a lot of love to them.
You know, I love how you've put your mindset into what you're doing, and how you sort of climbed out of the dark places, and you've been doing some pretty cool stuff recently, and I tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think my journey hit a crossroads about 4 years into it, where it came down to this. It sounds so cliche and cheesy, but we all gotta have some self-love, right?
Absolutely.
I'd put myself out there, and we'll talk about this in later episodes about dating and stuff, and I just found myself getting railroaded, ran over.
Yeah.
And it came to the point where I need to love myself more. Simultaneously, a good friend from my past had come back, and she owns a gym in Huntington Beach, and she's like, I want to kind of help you, work out a little bit and kind of get you more independent. And I said, that's awesome. So we kind of together started working out. She's like, some of this stuff's really motivational. You should put some of this on your social media.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and then I started kind of talking more about my journey. And as I started doing that, I felt like doors started opening that I never imagined.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I'd do some speaking because I really love getting my message out there, and I really love talking, if you haven't noticed.
Well, and not to mention you have the greatest handle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to plug. Yeah, I'll plug it. Sonny and Chair is my Instagram handle. So if you're subscribed to this, you should, go ahead and follow that on Instagram as well. And if you don't laugh when I say that, you're not a cool person. I just don't even like you.
And for all you guys that are young, look up Sonny and Share. It's this whole thing. So
yes, it's amazing. But my friends at the gym helped me coin that handle as well.
That's great.
But what that kind of springboarded into though was a little bit of they're making a real aggressive, really trying to get people in the business of modeling, acting, speaking that have real disabilities and real stories.
Yeah.
So what I've been able to touch on is these little bit of commercials and a little bit of acting. I'm still auditioning. I haven't got me a huge role yet, but I'll get it. Trust me. But they're really making an effort to include everybody.
Yeah.
And what's really motivated me and drove me to do this more and more is it's the possibilities, and it gives me a career path and gives me my purpose. But it also helps crush stereotypes. I really hate when I tell people what's happened to me, or I tell them and they already categorize me with somebody else they know, and it's totally false.
Yeah.
I'm not stereotypically a quadriplegic, and you're not stereotypically your situation,
Right.
And I just hate being
still an individual.
Yes.
This chair does not define you
at all,
Yeah.
So with all these great opportunities, I really, at the end of the day, I really just want to crush those stereotypes. And I feel like we're doing it. And no one's gonna stop us. Not anybody.
Not even you.
Nobody.
Yeah. Love that, man. Is there, your mindset is something that is just amazing to me, just from being friends with you. It's something I've admired and, just sought after, from afar, honestly. You were positive before I can even come around. It took me a while, and you've, just inspired me in ways, that, I hope that we can pass on to, our audience. Is there a certain philosophy or something that you go by that? Yeah. What's that?
It's two-parter. Okay. I think comfort zones are our worst enemy. Complacency is our worst enemy. Whenever you're coming across a situation that is making you get outside your comfort zone, making you grow as a person, embrace it. Go for it. Lean into it instead of leaning away from it. And what I mean by that is they say a lot of people who get serious injuries like ours go immediately to drugs or alcohol right away. Stay away from those vices. Turn those vices into something positive. Self-improvement is something I'm very addicted to. I love reading self-help books or just improving myself. And acceptance. I always go by this quote. That misses me was never meant for me. And that finds me was always meant for me. I totally messed that up, actually. That misses me was never meant for me. Nah, forget it.
We'll throw it up.
We'll throw it up.
Yeah,
I have it in my mind. I was just saying it before I said it. I got nervous until I forgot it.
It's all good.
But what is meant for you is always going to find you. So if a relationship doesn't work out, a job doesn't find its way, whatever the case is, it's okay. You know what I mean? Not every girl's meant for you. Not every guy's meant for you. Not every job's meant for you. There's always something coming around in the corner, you know? So just be open to that, you know, and don't take things so hard and don't take life so serious. Always have a good attitude towards it, you know, and when we're put in this situation, it's not by chance, it's for a reason. So just embrace that.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, maybe you had it already right there, but is there any advice to any, you know, everyone that's out there going through some tough times right now? Is there something that you've learned along the way that you can share?
God, you know, tough times. I think, you know, like I say this lightheartedly, but someone always has it worse than we do. And I truly believe that. Like, I feel very blessed in my situation. People always ask me about that. Like, of course, I would change it and I'd be running around high kicking people if I could. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm very lucky and very blessed. So sometimes we forget about the things we're most grateful for. So every once in a while, it's good just to kind of stop, be quiet for a second, and just really enjoy and be grateful for the things that we have in our lives. I think we miss that sometimes.
Love that, man. Well, it's been fun diving deep with you. You know, I know vulnerability is not easy.
No, I love it.
And there's gonna be plenty more where that came from, and the episodes to follow. Again, if you like what you're seeing from us, please like, share, and subscribe. Send it to people that you think could benefit from this. If there's someone that's going through a tough time, we would love to help be a voice that can help them rise above. Oh, yeah. And we are Wheel Talks. We're always here
Wheel Talks, baby.
Empower, entertain, and always keep it wheel. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.